we'll actually start with introductions of staff and panel. So Sophia introduced staff. I'm sitting in as chair in Anne Berry's absence. And I would like to go around the screen and get an introduction from all the committee members. And then we'll do a quick introduction from our applicant. So if we could start, maybe I'll just go around my screen. So Ricardo.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ricardo Nichols, community panel member, professionally project manager, 14 years of experience both in development and construction across Canada.
Okay, Deanna.
Hi, my name is Deanna Kilt. I'm
just
an
going
interior
into
designer.
a Zoom meeting. Sorry, honey.
Sorry,
I'm Deanna Kilt. I'm an interior designer with a LEED accreditation, WELL accreditation, and a Rick Hansen certification. I've been in the industry for 30 years.
Okay. So I feel like we're getting more people than who's on the committee, and I don't have a list in front of me. So Sophia, could you call out the names of the committee members, please?
Sure. So we have Michelle Bennett, Harp Hunjan, Deanna Kilt, Ricardo Nichols, Karen Hatch, Robert Drew, Drubal, sorry, don't want to say this last name incorrectly, and Ian Tom. And then we have Sharon Grayson from BIA.
Okay, Sharon, could you feel free to go next?
Sharon, your mic's got to be unmuted.
I didn't hear you wanted me. I didn't
Oh,
hear that
just
you asked me
brief
something.
introduction.
Sorry. What was
Just a
that?
brief introduction.
Just introducing?
Yeah.
Okay, so my name is Sharon Grayson. I have been on the ADP for quite a few years as a commercial representative for the Business Improvement Association for in an advisory role for anything that has to do with commercial or how it affects the businesses in general in the community. So I've been on a lot of these, seen a lot of these developments come through, and it's really great just as an aside to see people and architects who give really great ideas to developers to help them make things fit into our communities. And we've had some very successful projects come forward with some great free advice, I have to say. So it's nice to be part of the process.
Great, thank you. Michelle Bennett.
This is my first opportunity to be on the panel. I'm a local realtor, and I work for Suncrest Retirement Community. And I'm also on the board for CARP. So yeah, I've lived in the community for about, 20 years in South Surrey and about 6 years in White Rock. Thank you.
Perfect. Karen Hatch.
Hi, I'm Karen Hatch. I'm a White Rock resident, grew up here, was away for 30 years, and downsized back. I'm president on my strata and White Rock resident, but I have other design and aging in place. Experience, but I'm new to the council, or new to this. Thank you.
Okay. Manpreet. Introduce yourself.
I am Manpreet Singh. I'm principal architect at Paramount Architecture. I have a combined experience of 10 years of foreign experience and 10 years of experience here in Canada as an architect. So Aman Sandhu from on behalf of she will be presenting to the ADP panel.
Oh, okay. Harp.
Hi, Wayne. Thank you very much. I'm with Platinum Projects. It's a construction and project management company. I've been in the business for the last 35 years. Built institutional projects, residential, BC housing, assisted living, those types of projects. So I've got a varied background in the field, also in design and construction. And I'm also a White Rock resident. I've been here in White Rock, I think Michelle mentioned 6 years. I've been here probably 6, 7 years as well. And I've been in South Surrey since the early 2000s.
Perfect. Robert.
Thank you. Robert Drew. I am an architect with a Vancouver firm, Public Architecture and Design, and I I've been on this panel now for going on 2 years anyway. Prior to that, I sat on the Surrey AUDP as a chair on that panel for 4 years. So quite a bit of experience with these panels. I've been living in the community for 20 years. So look forward to seeing today's presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Ian.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ian Tom. I am your landscape architect for the ADP. I've been on this panel for, I think this is the second year now. My regular work, I work with the city of Coquitlam. I work in parks capital projects. So we work a lot in the public realm and open space interfaces. Looking forward to today's presentations.
Great. And I apologize, I had a screen move around. So if you can confirm I got everybody.
Sorry, I just joined. Don't know if you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hi there. If you could just quickly introduce yourself because we have some new panel members.
Okay. My name is Jibril, new panel member, architect with a firm called Arc Studio, downtown Vancouver. And yes, my first ADP volunteer. And yes, looking forward to today's presentation.
Okay, great. I think that's it. If I've missed anybody, please feel free to speak up and introduce yourself. If not, so what we'll do is we'll move on to the adoption of the agenda from the previous meeting. I believe that was held on May 21st, 2024. I have a motion to adopt. Ian, seconder. Aaron? Great. All in favor? Discussion? Moved. Okay. First on our agenda item, and then we have a motion to adopt the, oh my gosh, I did that backwards. Motion to adopt the agenda for today's meeting. Did the minutes from last first, but we'll do a motion to adopt the agenda for today's meeting with the noted items. If I could get a, okay, Karen, seconded, Richard, perfect. Moved. Carried. Okay. First on the agenda for the new members is review of the ADP terms of reference and mandate. Everybody should have gotten a copy of it and had some time to review it. I was asked by Anne to just point out a couple of items in the terms of reference to kind of provide a guidance on what the purpose of the ADP is and where we're supposed to go with reviewing applications as part of the committee. So in section 4, there's one, and it's just to provide the applicant with the professional advice and proposed design concerning improving the impact of the city and the building environment. So its purpose and its guidelines is to review the development permit applications and refer them to by the development and the panel may provide guidance or urban design issues using the following list. This list is not intended to be a firm requirement, but rather a guide to issues which may be relevant to a proposal. And under section 9, there's kind of the design principles. And I believe that was what Anne was just kind of hoping to point out to the new members, is we do have some guidance when we're looking at the applications. And because we're not in person, it's going to be a little bit harder for me to kind of keep track of who's providing comments. So I am going to kind of go around the list. So everybody has an opportunity to provide first comments. I can check people off, and then we can go around the second time for second round of comments and move on that way. Part of the ADP is obviously if there's any sort of conflict of interest. So at this time, I'll ask if any committee members have conflict of interest and need to recuse themselves in relation to the application in front of us. And if not, then we can move on to the application submission. Item 6.1. And I believe Julian is going to provide comments on that to start us off. Hand it over to Julian.
Yes, I have a short presentation. Just give me 1 second to get that loaded in. It should be, and can everyone see that okay? Thumbs up, yeah? Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. My name is Julian Lutzik, and I'm the planner managing this file for the city. The purpose of tonight's meeting is to present a proposed development at 15855 and 15869 Pacific Avenue. I'll start with a high-level overview of the project and highlight any key city policies. After my presentation, the applicant will provide a more detailed look at their proposal. The subject property, which is highlighted in blue, is located in the southeast corner of White Rock. It's situated between Houston Street to the west, Cliff Avenue to the north, and Hadgood to the east, with the only road access coming to the south of the parcel from Pacific Avenue. As you can see in this image, the subject property is located predominantly within a single-family neighborhood and was previously used as a care home. This slide explains how the proposal fits within existing city policies. So the site itself is currently zoned P3, which is for our community care facilities. With that, the applicant has proposed a rezoning to a comprehensive development zone. The surrounding area is mostly single-family homes under the mature neighborhood designation, which can be seen in white. And then there are some neighborhood commercial lots and a few urban neighborhood lots, which are in the yellow color, including this site. The urban neighborhood designation supports ground-oriented housing for up to 4 stories and a maximum density of 1.5 FAR, which is currently aligns with the proposal. The proposal is for a 3-story ground-oriented townhome development with 47 units, which are primarily 3-bedroom homes. It includes an FAR of 0.98 and a lot coverage of 42%. There are currently 104 parking stalls proposed, with 10 of those being designated for visitors and the rest for the residents in private garages. The proposal also features a shared amenity space of 249 meters located within the site, and each unit will have its own private rooftop balcony. The subject property is located in our multifamily development permit area, and the applicant has provided responses to the development permit area guidelines as part of their ADP package, which is available in the agenda package for all members. The multifamily development permit area is guided by 5 key objectives: is creating an attractive and pedestrian-friendly environment, ensuring new developments fit well within its surrounding, improving the overall quality of life and promoting sustainability through energy and water conservation, and enhancing the character of both the built environment and public spaces in White Rock. So to close, I'll quickly go over the remaining process for this proposal. So to date, we've already held the public information meeting, which was hosted in May. And today we are going through the advisory design panel review. From here, the project will move through council readings of the zoning bylaw and then the development and building permits, and finally onto construction. thank you for your time, and I'll now hand the presentation over to Amin for the applicant's part of the presentation.
Thank you, Julian. You already did half of my presentation, I think. I will share my screen here. Okay. Is everybody able to see my screen? All right. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to present before the advisory design panel and city staff. We appreciate the chance to speak with you about the project that we believe will bring thoughtful, well-designed housing to a very special part of the city of White Rock. So as Julian already mentioned, the site address is 15855 and 15869 Pacific Avenue. This property is a 1.6 acre lot located 2 blocks north of the White Rock Beach. The site is nestled between single family lots on the north, east, and the west side. There is a bus stop located on 160 Street, which is State Road, approximately 300 meters towards the east of the property. This is a fairly narrow site with a frontage of approximately 48 meters and a depth of 142 meters. Now, this dictated our building layout throughout the site. There is a difference of approximately 10 meters from north to south. If you can see my screen, this is the cross section, north to south. So the grading here along Pacific Avenue on the south is approximately at 39 meters. And up top here towards the north property line, it is 48 meters. Now coming towards our proposal. This is a multifamily townhouse development comprising of 47 townhouse dwelling units, and it is arranged along 11 buildings. None of the buildings have more than 6 units as per city guidelines. We have a total gross area of 71,973 square feet with an FAR of 0.98. As Julian mentioned, again, we were in the P3 zone, and we are proposing a CD zone with a density of 28 units per acre. Our building designs take its primary cue from the breathtaking southern panorama towards the White Rock Beach. Every angle, material choice, and spatial orientation has been deliberately crafted to honor and enhance the visual connection to the sweeping coastal expanse. We have taken advantage of the contoured site, which has rather helped us. Building 3 to 6. Here, if you can see my cursor, 3, 4, 5, and 6 along the north and west property lines are on a split level owing to the contours, and this has helped us achieve 2-story characters along the property lines. The patios will be located along the property lines, and so these buildings will blend well with the 2-story single family lots which are on the north, east, and the west side. So we have, I can pan to so if we see, so this is a view along the west property line. So these 2 buildings will be in a 3-story character, but these buildings, which is building 3, 4, and 5, will have a 2-story character from the west side. Similarly, the buildings on the north side will also have a 2-story character. On the west side, since this is the side yard, so we will see a 3-story, and two-story for a couple of buildings here. Moving ahead. Just 1 second. I'll pan to the site plan again. So the vehicular access is from the southern side, from the Pacific Avenue. The internal drive aisles are oriented north to south and with connections, with 3 connections east to west within the site. Now we follow the contours very well, and this has helped us arrange the buildings in a fashion that the drive aisles and the buildings are in a layout where we have split levels as well. We are proposing a 4.5 meter setback along north, south, and the west property line, and we have a 3 meter setback here along the east property line. Also, there is a approximately 250 square meters of outdoor amenity space. Even can elaborate on this a little more. The site is also connected through a pedestrian walkway north to south for an ease of access. We will be considering stormwater detention and on the site and provide a respite to the city's stormwater system. As per parking bylaws, we have 2 car garages in each unit, so providing a total 94 parking spaces for the units, and then 10 visitor parking spaces which are scattered all along the buildings throughout the site. In addition, we have a mailbox here in the middle of the site. Now, regarding our design approach for the building design, I will go to the elevations here, if you can bear with me a moment. So this is the view from the Pacific Avenue. So we have these buildings which are laid perpendicular to the Pacific Avenue. So we'll be seeing the side of the units, but then we have 3 units which are fronting on the Pacific Avenue. The buildings are thoughtfully designed with a modern and contemporary approach while remaining grounded in their natural surroundings through the use of vernacular material palette. We have used a mix of hardy siding, natural wood tones and textures with a mix of charcoal gray and white and light gray accents. So we have used a mix of lap siding, panel siding, as well as shingle siding throughout the unit facades. Each unit has an individual character. You can see this improves the visual interest and it reduces perceived mars. There is a visual coherence in the entire project, and we have kind of tried to capture West Coast architectural style. We have covered balconies and rooftop areas, and so these will be ample amount of amenity for each unit. Living areas within the units are thoughtfully oriented to make the most of the incredible views. Expansive windows and private balconies and patios will invite abundant natural light and also create a strong visual and physical connection to the outdoors. To mitigate bird collisions, glazing will be treated with frit pattern to reduce reflectivity. Now we have 2 different types of floor plans. Majority of the unit plans are a tandem garage, and then we have 4 units which have a side-by-side garage. The tandem units are 4-bedroom and 3-bedroom, I'm sorry, and the side-by-side garage units have 4 bedrooms and 3 washrooms, 3.5 washrooms. The units range between approximately 1,500 square feet to 1,950 square feet of area. And then we have also tried to incorporate all the SEPTED principles, clear sight lines, lighting strategies, secure access points, and active frontages. So in closing, we believe this development will bring together the best of both worlds, modern livable homes, and a strong connection to the natural beauty of the area. It's designed with care and with the goal of becoming a meaningful part of the community. Thank you again for your time and consideration. I'll hand it over to Ivan from PMG.
Thank you, Evan.
Thank you.
Let me
I'll
share the screen.
stop sharing my screen. Here you go.
Okay. Hey everyone, my name is Ewan from the PMG Landscape Architects. Happy to be here to present the landscape for this townhouse project. Let me zoom into the So the overall the landscape concept is to create a lush green environment for this project. A continuous landscape buffer is provided along the all side of the property. And also the landscape has been designed carefully, trying to retain as many the existing trees as we can, which along this edge. Along the street frontage, the Pacific Avenue, multiple layers of the shrub and ground cover with the aluminum fence has been introduced at this property line, trying to make it an attractive pedestrian-friendly frontage. So for the landscape, each yard will have a patio space which can accommodate use such as barbecue and seating. A paved pedestrian pathway runs through in the center of the site from the south to the north through the site to allow the pedestrian can moving through the site safely. And also this pedestrian path is connected to this outdoor amenity area. Here is a large enlarged plan of this outdoor amenity area, which including the playground, the barbecue with trailers, some community garden plots, and one open area here. And also there's some bollard lights is proposed in this outdoor amenity area to improve the visibility and support SEPTED principles here. Go back to the overall site plan. Permeable paver are proposed at the visitor parking slot, site entrance, and also these T intersections. Light colored paving material are used overall the site to reduce the heat absorption. So overall, this site, 39 replacement trees are required, and we are proposing 49 trees along with thousands of drought-tolerant plants that integrate into the native planting. So that's all for landscape presentation. Thank you, and let us know if you have any questions.
Thank you, Ewan and Amin. I see Ricardo had his hand up quite early on, and thank you for your patience and waiting for them to finish the presentation. If any members have questions for the applicant, now's the time. Ricardo, I'll let you lead it off.
Okay, thank you very much. Firstly, thank you for your presentation, much appreciated. The design is really beautiful, and again, from a aesthetic standpoint, ties in well with the community. My first question was that would there be walkways between the setback and the building itself for the pump for the people who own on the property? Like, so can you walk the entire perimeter, or will it be strictly just fenced off all the way from, I guess, from south to north, returning back to the east and back all the way down to the south or will it be like a free flow area for the tenants to move around in the property?
We have not provided a walkway around the perimeter, but
Okay.
all the yard spaces, they will be connected. So if I can share my screen here. So we have provided doors here. So in case of emergency, so if you
Okay.
see these, there is a connection. But yes, since so all these are private lots along the 3 property lines,
Okay.
didn't feel like a good idea to provide um, a public walkway here. So the access to the units will be
From the
mainly
frontage.
from the front
Okay.
drive aisles.
Okay.
Yeah,
My next question, thank you very much for responding to that. My next
sure.
question would be, for the trees, those new trees that are along the eastern property line,
Mhm.
are those shedding trees? Will they like shed during the fall winter season?
Even can you provide a little
Because my
insight
Can you
on
repeat the
concern is
this?
that
question?
the neighbors to the eastern frontage or facade, will they be impacted by if those trees are shedding during the regular cycle of the lifestyle, sorry, the life cycle of the trees?
Well, this is more like a deciduary trees. So in the winter, the leaf will fall off.
Okay.
Won't really like block the sun, but also in summer, like the hot temperature, it can provide the shade. So it's not, yeah. So there's no not conifer trees proposed in the outdoor amenity area.
Okay. Again, my only concern was be just the neighbors that are basically along the east frontage, because based on the size of those trees, they might be impacted in terms of having additional things to clean up on their own property, from a long-term standpoint. But again, if it's already a non-factor from your perspective, then it's not a big deal. My next question would be, when it comes to the building mass in itself. So from a sun angle standpoint, both in the summer and the winter, will any of these building based on the different frontages impact shadowing or cause shadowing and on any of the neighboring property around the perimeter? Again, I'm not sure if this is for this part of the meeting,
Um, we'll have to do a shadow analysis. I
like a
don't,
building
so
mass.
according to my own estimate, so since these buildings, building 5 and 6 will be 2-story,
Yes, ma'am.
should not be too much of a shadow impact around on the surrounding properties.
Especially in the winter time.
Especially in the wintertime, we can maybe provide a shadow analysis for these buildings to have a clear view on what kind of shadows we'll have during the winters and the summer solstice.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're
And
welcome.
my last question, will this be like I know this is more of a construction question. Will this be a one phase development or will it be stage phases in terms of the how the build is gonna occur or the planned build?
We haven't discussed this, the phased planning with the developer yet. So
Okay,
maybe we can provide an insight when we have a discussion with the developer.
okay, fair
Yep.
enough.
Yep.
And I'm trying to think what else is there. From a landscape, sorry, from a I guess landscape design perspective, do you see the letdown that goes onto the main Pacific Avenue? Will there be any plan to do any kind of like cross path or crosswalks with this along the north to the south on both sides, just to allow for ease of the actual property onto Pacific Avenue? Since we already have we're introducing all these new homes in the area, and that point right there could be a safety concern.
We have provided a sidewalk along the Pacific Avenue. So if
Okay.
you see, this shaded area will
Yeah, that
be
I know.
a dedicated space for a sidewalk with a green apron between the sidewalk and the road itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Mhm.
Okay, excellent. Those are all the questions for now. Thank you very much for your time. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Likewise.
Thank you, Richard. Anybody, I see, Hart, yeah, we have that.
One sec. Hi, Eamon. Nice design, great colors.
Thank you.
Really like it. I think you've taken advantage of the slopes. I'm trying to keep the whole form to a 2-story, which is kind of nice to be, especially around an existing neighborhood. Question I have for you is on the landscaping, and maybe for you, and have you guys got a screening plan for the interior drive aisles? Because I always find that the biggest problem is with evening time or the nighttime light shining onto neighbors from the internal drive aisles. So have you got a screening plan for that?
Ivan.
We don't have the screening plan at this moment, but I believe the backyard is not facing the driveway. Like for the backyard, we will have the hedge to provide a screen. But yeah, so the backyard is facing to the property line. So when the vehicle is driving in the lane, the light won't be affect to the backyard.
Yeah, so I'm talking about the east-west drive aisles, right? Not your north-south, the east-west ones, which will be pointing directly into existing neighbors' homes from the back.
So we kind of have an advantage here since if I can move to the just 1 second here. So if we see, if I can, so this is the north portion of the site. So if you see this dotted line, so this will be a stepped area from the property line, if I may. I'll go back to the site plan to explain it better. So we would have so this portion is lower than the property line here. So it will be a respite here. Same goes for here because this portion would be lower from this portion. Similarly, these drive aisles, since this portion is on level 2, it's a split building with access to the garage on the lower level. So these will be quite sunken from the property line. So it would not be as like it should not be a problem of the lights, like the vehicles when they turn this way to obstruct or to shine a light towards the neighboring lots.
That's perfect. That's perfect. I mean, you've got a depression there, so that works.
Yes. Thank you for the question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is anybody else? Ian, put your hand up there.
Hi, figured I'd jump in with a couple of things here. This first one might be a question kind of for staff as well. And me just kind of being familiarized with the space as well. So the OCP, when you read it, it calls for, I guess in the reference guideline, it says something like the development will be complementary to adjacent developments in terms of height, density, the design. As far as I could see, everything around it is RS1, RS2. How would staff interpret this design in terms of it fitting within this community?
I'm going to pass that to Julian or Nitu on it.
It's going to be rezoned, I think.
So when we're evaluating, we're looking at the overall scale of the buildings. We're going to be looking at how they kind of fit within that neighborhood. A lot of the existing homes and our current zoning bylaw allows for up to 7.7 meters in height for the buildings. So what's being proposed here won't be a significant difference between some of the newer existing single family homes that we have. This lot was designated as urban neighborhood in our OCP, so there was always kind of that availability for up to 4 stories and 1.5 FAR. So in this case, the applicant has chosen to go with kind of a shorter height and slightly lower density to maybe better fit within that existing neighborhood.
Okay, thank you. And I think that just kind of goes to my first comment that if I were to read this plan and not seeing the elevations of what the adjacent housing looks like, my first impression would be that it would look quite different, not having seen the site more than just a couple Google Maps drops. But I wonder if the team could just take that for advisement and see if staff would want to look at that further. Going down my list here, I was curious if there was any plan for garbage and recycling, because I couldn't find in the layout or keys any reference to waste management.
Yes, I think I can jump on that a little bit. So since the city of Surrey doesn't, city of White Rock, I'm so sorry, does not have the garbage pickup, which is the garbage trucks, which have mechanical arms. So it's physical pickup. So our plan is to leave the totes right in front of the garages so that a garbage truck can come in. And I think there's Thursday is the pickup day for this. So it's just one day a week when there would be garbage totes out front on the aprons along the drive aisles.
Okay, thank you.
But if city requires, we can certainly see if we could provide a common pickup area. But that's up to city's requirement though.
Yeah, I was curious as I wasn't aware of, I guess, this jurisdiction's waste management requirements. So I'd ask the question. My next comment here is related to the community amenity, of course. I do like the space. I think it's very, it provides a lot of amenity. I do think it reads as a little tucked away. And I think that kind of goes to it being screened off by the parking, the mailbox, that hydrant, as well as the fairly dense shrub planting proposal. So I wouldn't have any specific recommendation, but I would advise if the team could look at ways to bring the community together in this shared space, to bring it to life a little, whether that be how it reads in terms of circulation or the views into the space. There are some bollards that encircle the amenity. I'm not sure the level of use it would have into the evenings or the feeling of security that a few low-level lighting elements would provide. But those are some initial thoughts on that space. On the note of shrub planting, looking at the landscape plan in general, so this is a separate comment, it does feel like a fairly densely planted space. And that's the business decision of this plan, but it would have fairly strong maintenance and irrigation requirements. I can see the planting intent, and I can see why a lot of this is proposed. But I would call to advise that that there is a life cycle cost to having such dense planting, and to maintain it to a degree that would feel, I think, to meet the design intent, it would be a consideration that should be accounted for. I think in some spaces, maybe just looking at the key plan here between building 7 and 8, perhaps some of the trees may be a little tight. So I'm not sure what tree exactly that is proposed there. But I think it's shown on top of some shrub planting right on a fence line. So as long as the species are incorporated or taking into consideration the adjacencies, if root barrier is needed, if a different tree species or whatnot may be more appropriate, it just looks to be fairly constrained. On the note of lighting, I did reference there's a couple of bullards earlier. I think in the application response, it said that there would be lighting provided for pedestrian pathways. I don't see that here unless there's supposed to be lighting mounted on walls of the buildings or some other component of a plan that's not shared here. So maybe that might be a question that could be clarified right now.
At this moment, yeah, we only add lighting at the outdoor amenity area, and we can look into the opportunity to add a light for this pedestrian path.
Okay, not that I would specifically advise that. It just says that the applicant response says there would be lighting on pedestrian areas. So that's just
Oh.
a gap to be addressed. I think as a general comment related to the dense landscaping, if some thought could be put into the maintenance access, just because some areas are fairly dense, taking into consideration having ongoing pruning, fertilizer, mulching or whatnot, as long as that's being considered for all areas of the landscape plan. Thank you. That's what I have to share for now.
Thank you. Robert.
Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Thank you for your presentation, very clear. And the design materials are, I think they're actually quite appropriate for what we're seeing built in White Rock at this time. So congratulations on that. I have a couple of questions or points. The garbage was one that I also had written down that there was, hadn't indicated how that was done. I don't know if you need to wait for White Rock to tell you how to do that, or if that is something that you work with the developer and the companies that actually pick up garbage to try to optimize that. It looks like in order to store 3 bins on everybody's property is going to take up quite a bit of the garage. There's no room outside for it. So I think it's a serious issue that you probably will need to work with the developer and whoever's going to collect the garbage if it isn't the city. So I think that is a serious design issue that you probably want to understand pretty early in your design process. And the amenity, I also brought up the amenity, which I think Tom brought up, or is it Ian? Sorry, Ian, I guess it is. Sorry, Ian. There was the way you've represented it here. There's no way to access that from the 1.6 meter walkway. So I'm pretty sure you're going to solve that eventually. But what I think Ian brings up is that it's also hidden behind a whole bunch of other features on the site, and it would be really, I think, advantageous to the community to be able to see into that space as they're connecting with it through the walkway or driving or actually going in there and inhabiting that space. So it's a pretty tight site. You've done a pretty good job of squeezing an awful lot of program onto this site. And I know trying to find a home for those 3 vehicles, which would be what I would want to do immediately, would be relocate those 3 parking spots. The mailbox is fine. Maybe it's not oriented the best way, but to get visibility in, but certainly those 3 cars. So I know this is a big task. So anyways, you've got this far, so hopefully you can continue. The pedestrian path, it's great that you're providing that, but it looks like is it a painted representation? Are you going to paint lines on there to represent the pedestrian pathway?
But that would be paver.
Pavers.
Okay,
Yeah,
but
pavers.
is there a curb or anything separating the sidewalk from the road?
No.
No. So just keep an eye out. I think there's a danger there in the sense that it'll invite parking, right? It'll invite parallel parking because it'll appear that it's not part of the roadway. And so people will temporarily park there to unload groceries, or the Uber guys and the DoorDash guys will definitely use that as parking. So it may not be, as you described it, as being a way to safely move pedestrians through the development. It may not function that way if you get a whole bunch of visitors and Uber and everything like that parking there. So the buildings 7 and 8, they're in your section. They are really tight. Like the backyards are very tight, and I think I can see what's happened is you've laid out that part of the site, and this is what you're left with. The space between those 2 buildings I think was probably the last space that was probably developed on here. So it's pretty tight. And is it too tight, I guess? So I guess you'll have to work with your developer and marketing and realty people to find out if that's a comfortable, if that's far enough apart to, they're going to sell. But is it the best marketing decision you could make, right? And could you actually turn building 7 90 degrees, for example, and not have the kind of privacy issues between building 7 and 8, which I think it's only 2 buildings where you have privacy issues. It's just between those 2. So is there a way to deal with the privacy issues between those 2 suites, sorry, 2 buildings? And I don't know how you do that. The adult outdoor amenity probably drove how that part of the site actually got organized. I think that the outdoor amenity course is important to the project, so you want to keep that. Otherwise, there's a democratic disposition of the private outdoor space across the site, which is really nice. Everybody gets the same amount of outdoor space, and I think I'm hoping that the setback from the buildings from the neighboring single family houses is going to be the fact that they're low, they're not that tall, that they're set back at least a little ways off the property line, and the houses that are surrounding you are actually they got pretty generous backyards for the most part, I guess, too, as well. So the kind of privacy issues between the single family and your development hopefully won't be an issue for both your residents and the neighboring residents. Otherwise, it's a pretty handsome design. It's a jigsaw puzzle, and I think you've done a pretty good job of getting the pieces to fit. So.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll definitely consider the amount of room we have between buildings 7 and 8. We'll see if we can perhaps increase that distance somehow, and see if we can reduce the aprons along maybe building 9 and 10, maybe even a couple of feet. So that'll give us a little bit of extra room there. Yeah, otherwise, yard space almost equal for all the units. And thank you for your appreciation.
Thank you, Robert. Shannon, I believe you're next.
Hi. Okay, a couple of things. The challenge of moving forward with adding something brand new to a neighborhood is there is no form and character because it's different. And so we always do have this challenge of going how it needs to fit in, but it can't in a complementary way with other things to think about besides aesthetics. And we definitely need this density, and as far as bringing somewhere to our community where families can live that are not in buildings that have yards and everything else, that have walkability, it's in a good location and everything out. I really applaud tucking a little a place in like this that's not massing along a road, that just kind of hides in there and tucks in and has lots of room for lots of families. So I guess a few things just to comment again with my colleagues about the plantings, that just wondering what the requirements are, and the planning department would look at that, as opposed to you've been very generous with the plantings to make it, there's nothing worse than stark, but if it's too much moving forward when they get big and start being issues for maintenance for the strata, that's a consideration that I hear that could be looked at, and maybe it just needs a little bit less, as well as, and I agree with the amenity, the outdoor area, that you want eyeballs on that. Is there any as far as the requirements, we know that there's existing I didn't mention in my, I've been a realtor for 16 years in the area, and I've lived out here for a long time, and seeing some townhome units that now, because of modern day, do not have electrical requirements or electrical capacity for what people want, which is to be able to plug their cars in. Is the electrical part of the mechanical part of these townhouses, is that included in the planning?
Certainly, we will be providing EV charging for all the units.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also, again, I know this is a hard subject, but is there any sort of, like, these are good size for families, which is what they're meant for, but with the views and that they're a decent size, I guess costs are going to be, a concern that they will be affordable enough for families. So that would be a concern, because these are very much so looking like family homes, and just something to think about. And I just think that you've done a really good job with a challenging site, and you've got a lot in there, and that you didn't scrimp on the size of the units. Thank you very much, because anything under 1,400 square feet just is so small. And so thank you for making them comfortable enough that is enjoyable for a family, and that's important as well. And I'm just I'm sorry to tell you I have to leave at 5 o'clock. I'm not leaving right away, but I have a conflicting appointment, and I'm sorry about that. But thank you for listening. And I'm not able to vote, but those are my thoughts. And I think that I would urge that this is something that we really need more of in White Rock, and it's hard to find sites. And I think you've done a good job at finding it.
Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Jubilee?
Yes. Thank you for sharing. That's impressive what you've been able to accomplish here, like just fitting the program into this very challenging site. Just going to echo some comments. Like, yes, you need to figure out the garbage collection plan, because right now you have like 6.1, which is pretty much your fire lane, right? Like, chances are there's a conflict. There is garbage collection and fire at the same time. There's pretty much no access to your site. Pretty fun. And something that also stood out to me was the transitioning from the proposed sidewalk and that you're creating the property to the existing brick sidewalk. It doesn't quite transition as well. I guess something just to look at. And I also think, so building 11 and building 1, so that's your frontage. I think building 11 works well. Yeah, the human scale, entrance doorways and everything. But building 1, though there's some treatment, still feels not quite human scale. So there is an opportunity to massage that one building, right? It's drawing to, I think. Yes, right? Like the other one is the plumb is broken, there's entries, you could see the permeability into your design, but this one facade on your very limited frontage. Just a thought. Yeah.
Sure. We can look into doing some more articulation on this facade. It'll be challenging given the floor plan, but we can
I know it's
certainly
like
look
I know
into it.
you're
Yeah.
it's very efficient. You have few floor plans and it's very easy to yeah, just an opportunity that could be exploited.
We'll certainly look into it. Thank you.
Okay. Diana.
Hi, I think the building's really beautiful. I think the materials have been articulated very successfully. My question really pertains to some of the other things that I've already heard, but on a different note, what accessible features have you created within the spaces?
Just a minute. So, majority of the townhouses here, they are tandem garage, and we have 4 units which are side-by-side garage, and those have the opportunity to be adaptable units. So certainly a chairlift can be installed for accessibility purpose. If need be, if somebody with an accessibility challenge buys these units, and ample big rooms, we can certainly look into providing an accessible washroom in one of these, or maybe a couple of units for somebody with an accessibility challenge. So we have 4 of these units, and it'll be easy to retrofit them at a later stage.
So my other comment to that would have been, and I think it's already been articulated already, is the pathways and the lighting of the pathways, just from accessibility and from a crime prevention standpoint, making sure that there would be enough lighting in order for people to egress and move through those pathways without any issues, as well as of course, crime prevention. You want to prevent those areas from being too dimly lit for the safety of your occupants.
Sure, we can see into the event. Maybe you can elaborate on that a little bit.
Yes, we were looking to that. Yeah, we were looking to adding some lights along this pathway. Well, especially the one running from south to north.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I think you've done a really good job of putting this whole proposal together, and I think it really does speak to the community.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ricardo, I'm just going to ask you wait 1 second. Karen's the only one that actually hasn't provided a first round of comments. So is there anything you have to say, or we'll just circle back to Ricardo?
Well, I do have concerns about the width of the laneway for moving trucks, for deliveries, for fire trucks, for garbage trucks. That garbage to me is the big issue. That's 147, 150 buckets being collected, and you wouldn't have two-way laneway with the walkway to have two cars going by. And otherwise, it is a very nice design, and I've gone by there, and the design fits in with the renovations and rebuilds in the neighborhood. And there's a lot of really good points to this design and how it fits in. There's no other sidewalk would end and begin at your property line, because there's no other sidewalk along Pacific at that section of the road. So I don't know how you'd connect that. But the width of the driveway was my big concern, and size of the garage for fitting actually two cars and your garbage bins, and the whole practicality of it. Because I don't know that you could fit the bikes with the EV chargers, et cetera, et cetera. How deep are they?
They are 40 feet deep. So
it's the whole.
Yeah, the whole thing is a garage. And then we have room for garbage totes on the side, and then we have extra room for the hot water tank and the other mechanical equipment here under the stairs.
Okay, but they're 15 feet wide, or it's 20 feet wide?
So the whole unit is 15.5 foot wide. The requirement for a single parking is 3.1 meters, which we comply with. But
the reality of 15 feet fitting two cars and being able to get in and out of them isn't realistic. But the depth of 40 feet is definitely fine.
Yeah, this is what the city requirement says, and majority of the house units are based on this design, a typical design which is followed throughout the Lower Mainland, I think. But we can certainly look into it if we need more room.
Well, you wouldn't be able to get out of your car if you have two cars parked side by side and 15 feet wide. You wouldn't be able to get in.
These are tandem garage units. So it's like it's a car one after the other. So parked one after the other.
Okay.
Yeah. So these units in building 11, these are side by side. So these are 6 meter wide. So here there's room to park two cars side by side, but the tandem garage units, so one car is parked after the other one.
Okay, so not particularly practical, but workable. Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
I think, I'm sorry. We have a couple more members that haven't spoken. So Hatch or Bennett or Michelle, and then we'll circle back to Ricardo. Anybody else? Okay, Ricardo.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Michelle, I think it's
speaking. Sorry, I was just undoing my mic. I think the design complements the neighborhood. I think it's, there's going to be some challenges that you've mentioned about the garbage and recycling, the tandem garages, yeah, it's tight, but it seems like it's doable. I've seen many of these units in Grandview and they're tight units, but people can park their cars and just making sure that there's enough room. But yeah, I like the design. I like the aesthetics. It looks good for the community. So just addressing the concerns with the lighting and the walkways for deliveries. And yeah, I think it looks pretty good overall. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Bennett?
That's it.
Okay. Ricardo, circle back for round 2.
Thank you very much. Was there any coordination with Surrey or White Rock Fire in terms of these lanes, in terms of what is required to have a fully loaded truck come into the development? That's a question.
We have provided a 12-meter turning radius. So as per City of Surrey's requirement,
Yes.
A truck can go into a site and we can have a hammerhead up to a 90-meter distance, and then it can straight back up. But
Okay.
For that reason, we have provided a turning radius of 12 meters, which is the requirement for a large truck to turn around. So
they have made input, right? Because the only reason I'm asking, because I have a project right now in Surrey, and I know dealing with the I guess it'd be the community safety entity, they were concerned with how the hammerhead was done, and they wanted to have more input in terms of the whole design from a capacity standpoint and
we have
everything else.
Yeah, we have done like a standardized approach towards
Okay.
the turning radius for the truck, which is required. The
Okay.
truck would not be entering these drive aisles
Because we
between
can't have
building
these
8
things.
and 9 and then
Yeah.
11 and 10, but it
Okay.
would certainly go into the hammerhead here. So there's ample
Okay.
amount of room for the truck to turn around, do a straight up back up, and then go out of the site.
So I'm
Here.
guessing from a site management standpoint, you will have signage that there is no parking allowed along the frontages at any
Of
point.
course.
That
Of
okay,
course.
fair
Yeah.
enough.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Likewise.
Okay, would anybody else like to add anything?
I've got my hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Deanna.
Deanna?
I was just curious because I did visit the site. However, I didn't go on Cliff Street, and I was just curious if there was going to be any impact to the views for the neighboring sites on Cliff Street.
I did do a little bit of site analysis. So if the site is pretty sloping when we go towards when we see the north to south comparison, as I mentioned in the beginning of my presentation. So from the southern point here to the north point, we have a difference of approximately 10 meters here. So should not be a problem because from the Cliff Street, you see these 2-story units, and further down, when we move towards this towards the southern side, we would not be essentially seeing any of the units from this side, other than these the buildings on the northern side, because all these would be, if I can go to the section here. So imagine the Cliff Street is here and all this is sloping down. So
Okay.
shouldn't be a conflict.
Okay, yeah, so the site actually works to your advantage in that location.
Exactly.
I was just concerned for the people that were existing there, but obviously they'll still maintain their view, which is awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, if anybody else has some comments. What? Then forward with next steps. So recommendations. So I'll give a kind of overview of what I heard. I took some notes. There was a lot of discussion about the walkway and some lighting, outdoor amenity space and accessibility to it. We had some conversation, good points about the garbage collection. The greenery throughout the site to look at the densification of it. If we can keep that into something that's more manageable, I think, in the future as planting and growth matures. Yeah. There's anything I'm missing? So it's committees kind of options. So I could throw out 3 different options. Option 1 is that the advisory design panel recommends that council approve the major development application. Option 2 is council approves the application with some changes, and we can break down a list for it. Or option number 3 is the advisory design panel does not recommend support of the major development. So I'll leave it to the committee.
I can go first.
Yeah.
If you want. I say we move forward with some changes, again, as mentioned by the rest of my colleagues, more so with the density of the landscape trees and those items, and from a safety and usability standpoint for illumination requirements. And what else is there? Those are the main 2 things that I could see from this perspective.
Okay, so landscaping, sorry, and the second one was?
Sorry, the landscaping and also it was both landscaping. So when it comes to the tree, because again, I'm still concerned that all these trees will negatively impact the neighbors to the east in terms of the tree size and the root movement, and also the illumination across the entire property.
Okay.
And I still would like to see, if possible, a built-in mason to show the sun between the summer and the winter solstice, because I have a strong feeling that the neighbors to the east elevation and the north elevation may be impacted more than we can see from just a plan view of these drawings. Not to be negative, but just from I guess a community, everyone being amicable in the future kind of standpoint.
Okay. The shading analysis.
No problem, sir.
Wayne,
so
can we still add a comment, Wayne, or is that over?
Yeah, you can add a comment.
And this is for Amin. Has engineering reviewed this design from a Pacific Avenue perspective? Because I'm just looking at it's a driveway letdown, 47 units coming out. Should it be a curb return? Just a question for the city.
It should be a question for the city, I think, because we did not get any comment back from the city regarding the driveway access point here from the Pacific Avenue.
Yeah, because whenever
Oh, sorry, go ahead. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off there.
Yeah, typically when it's that many units coming out onto a street front, if you put a curb return in, the pedestrians know that there's a driveway that's got lots of traffic on it. If it's a letdown, pedestrians generally don't pay attention to those because the sidewalk goes straight through. So just a comment, it's for engineering to kind of have a look at, but it shouldn't be that big of a problem putting in a curb return or a driveway letdown.
Certainly.
Okay. So Ricardo, are you putting a motion on the floor for option 2 with a few items?
Yes, I am. So it can proceed with just modifications.
Okay, I have a seconder for that.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, so we we'll move forward with those recommendations. Thank you very much. I believe that's all we have on the agenda tonight. I would say the advisory design panel meeting is concluded at 4:45.